Hello. So, we're currently in the middle of May, and I didn't really post as much as I would have liked to in all of April, pretty much. I didn't read as much as I would have liked to. I didn't really do anything as much as I would have liked to. April was pretty much entirely spent acclimating to living in our car, which, if you've watched any of my recent videos, you know the situation, and it's not great, but we are getting through it. Currently, we are in a hotel right now, so we're here for another day. After tomorrow, we will be back in the car. I just figured that now would be a good time for me to kind of check in and also film some sort of intro for all of the content that I have been filming. It's not really easy, or there's not really a lot of stuff that I'd want to share from living in my car, but I do have some things that I've recorded and some like places we've tried and things that we've been doing, and the dogs mostly. Overall, this experience kind of sucks, but there are some things that aren't so bad about it. We had been struggling for so long because of so many different things, and emergencies just kept happening, and things were just piling and piling and piling on, and it was pretty much impossible to stay on top of things and remain comfortable. Like, it had been so long since we had gone anywhere or done anything or been able to eat out or anything like that. Literally, like, for the whole pandemic and since then, like, we did not go out, we didn't get food out, we didn't do anything. And, you know, obviously for most of that was fine because it's like social distancing and quarantine and stuff like that, but there were times where we could have like picked up food or done it safely, but we couldn't afford to do anything. While right now we are saving everything that we make, sometimes every now and then we have been able to like try something new, or like a restaurant that we'd been seeing for a couple of years and have really wanted to go to or get food from. So there are a couple of things like that I will share that I did record, and you'll see some food and random things. Then there are also just a couple of random places around that we've been to that we had never been to before. I am very much a homebody. I am very like nervous around people, and probably has a lot to do with the fact that I'm autistic, but I also just am very kind of, I don't know, I'm not exactly like introverted because I'm very open about things, and if I'm around somebody that I'm like comfortable with, I'm totally fine and like very goofy and silly and stuff, but most of the time around other people I'm very uncomfortable. So it had been a while since we'd socialized or anything like that. Just to lead into a general update, so last month we made, or maybe it was early this month actually, I think it was early in May. Sorry, the days kind of blend together when you live in a vehicle. I don't know what to say. But I made a GoFundMe to help us like raise money, because in my thought process, if we had like a lump sum of money, like 6 months of rent, which is what two of the places had asked us for, they were like, if you have 6 months worth of rent, we can sign you on even though you're self-employed. And being self-employed has been my major hurdle, because they want me to meet like these requirements that you don't have to meet unless you're self-employed. Like, if I had a normal job, I wouldn't be like held to such high requirements, but because I don't, it's just really silly. So one of the places we had applied to told us that if we could pay 12 months down, like the full lease, they would let us move in, and we obviously could not do that. And then a different person told us that our place was taken by somebody who was able to pay 6 months down, and they were like, are you able to do that? And we were like, no, we cannot do that. So I based the GoFundMe off of that and the fact that like if we had this, we'd have a better chance. And while that is true, unfortunately we just still have not been able to get approved anywhere, which sucks. I felt like it had been a while since we heard from anybody, and I send out applications like every single day. Originally we were spending like a decent amount of money trying to apply, because there are application fees for like every place. We found this website where like if you pay like $35 for like a month, you can do all the applications for free because they're included in that. So we've been doing that, so we haven't had to pay more than that since we signed up for that. But I think I just said that a lot of times. Sorry if I'm not super articulate right now. There's a lot going on. But yeah, So we just are not having luck. And I don't know, I mean, I know it's not just us, because from what I hear, there are other people who are in this area or in like the general area of like California, and they've also struggled. A lot of the people I know were able to get the places they have because they knew people, or because they like, I don't know, lucked out somehow in a way that we are not. So we've been looking around our state as well, like in all the bordering states. But for some reason we are just not having luck. So at this point, it's been like a month and a half, and things are getting easier in the sense that we are figuring out like a routine and stuff. But overall, it just really, it kind of sucks because there's not a lot of space, and my boyfriend is very tall, and being that tall in a small car with me and then 2 dogs is just, I imagine it's very difficult for him. And I know that it's difficult for me having his knees knock into me all the time. He's probably gonna watch this at some point, so I love you and sorry. But it's a small car, and we're doing our best, but it's a small car. It is what it is. Thankfully, it's not like a sedan or something, you know, even smaller. It's Prius, so we have like a decent amount of space, but it's not enough. We have been thinking about getting like some kind of used van. Like, I don't know, not even intentionally doing any kind of like van life thing, because that's not been my goal, but we think we might need to like drive a little bit back east and maybe check in like the Midwest to see if we can start applying and checking out the areas there, or just checking on the East Coast, like mostly like northern. I'm from Florida and I have no plans to go back there whatsoever. So, I mean, like maybe for a visit, of course, because my brothers still live there and I have family and stuff, but overall, that state doesn't really hold much for me in the way of appeal. So, we might try maybe further north. I have lived in Boston, I've lived in Colorado, so there are a couple of other places that I feel a little bit comfortable with, but we could just end up wherever. I don't know. So yeah, thankfully, I keep going off on tangents. So, thankfully, the GoFundMe did fund. We raised everything we intended to, and then we had to raise the goal a little bit because there were fees from GoFundMe that I didn't account for because I'm not good at math. And so I didn't factor in a fee percentage, and I had to adjust for that, and people came through for that as well, and I'm so grateful. We just have that in a savings account now that we opened specifically for that. We've let all of the places know that we've applied to, like, we have this, we can pay this if you want it. Like if you want an additional deposit, if you want us to pay like 6 months down, we can do this. But unfortunately still, it's just not working out. And to be totally honest, I do feel like a failure. Like it sucks. Moved here 6 years ago and things like went fine for most of that. Like my business has been doing really well. Like my business is still doing well, but it feels really crappy to be told that even though like I'm doing well by anybody else's standards, it's not enough, which makes me internalize that it's not enough and it makes me feel like I'm not enough. And it's just, it's a hard thing to deal with, I think. I try not to focus on it a lot because it just makes me upset. So yeah. I know we're doing all we can, and that's really all we can do. Like, we're trying our hardest, and we are like pivoting when we can and trying something else, if necessary. And I guess we'll just keep doing that into perpetuity until something works out. Yeah. I do feel pretty guilty and bad because so many people, you know, chipped in to help, and it still doesn't help. Like and through no fault of like anybody else's or even through ours, but like still people are just not willing to give me a chance or, you know, give us a chance or help. And like in the way of like landlords and stuff, potential people we could rent from, not like my friends and stuff who have been fantastic through all of this, like even strangers and stuff. Like there are people who have commented on some of my videos that I have never spoken to and I don't know, and they're just so supportive and so nice. And so I guess that's probably the better thing to focus on, which is maybe a little note to myself to stop focusing on all the bad stuff. There's always going to be bad stuff. Right now, we are afforded the opportunity to see stuff and go places and drive around, and see different areas of where we are. So I think we're gonna maybe try to do that. You know, just like go to like hiking trails and stuff that don't really cost money. I have never been camping like in my life. I'm not an outdoorsy sort of person. I like freak out when there's a bug near me. So I don't know how camping is gonna go, but I think we're gonna try doing that at some point. Maybe closer toward the end of summer, just because it's pretty hot out right now and I do not tolerate heat well. I love how I'm like, I don't like bugs and I don't like heat, but I'm gonna go camping. Yeah, so what else can I say? That's really it. I don't know. There isn't really a lot to talk about that is going on because a lot of my days look the same. We wake up in the morning in a public place and spend the entire day driving between different locations and working or hanging out in a park. It's not very glamorous. We don't have a lot of space. It doesn't look very nice because there's always like bags filled with stuff in my car. Not like trash, but like books usually, because I've been carrying a lot of books with me. So yeah, we're managing. I don't know what else I can say. I know a lot of people are probably kind of concerned. We are as safe as possible. My mental health is not declining on the regular. I mean, it's kind of baseline, like, meh, you know? So that's really the best I can hope for, I think, right now. Which maybe isn't great, but yeah. So I will check back in after all of this footage that I'm about to insert. There's not gonna be a voiceover or anything because I don't want to do that. But I will put some kind of like music over it, maybe some kind of like nice vibey thing, or I don't know, whatever suits my mood at the time. So without further ado, here's a bunch of stuff that I did or saw in April and so far in May. So the mattresses fit, like they're these little sleeping bag things. Yeah. Woo. Setup. This part, the seat folds down, so when it folds down we have our beds that are folded up right now. But yeah.
Leads me to believe I've been losing my mind. It's not nearly as fun as I had anticipated.
We're trying to finish setting up the car and we just got some visitors. Hey. Hi. Little babies. That one is so cute. That one is so funny. Is it a baby? Hey, okay, welcome back. So, yeah. If you have any questions about any of it, I'm totally open. I decided before we started this that I wasn't going to try to be secretive about what's going on because it just doesn't serve me to be secretive. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not good at it. I don't like it. It causes me stress to try to keep things secret or like hide things, especially with like how open I am and how much I share. If I had to like pick and choose parts of it, I would just go bananas. So I just share it all. Hopefully at some point I will have better news to share regarding the house search or apartment search or, you know, living situation search. And until then, I plan to continue making videos and doing what I can. Some of my videos may be from the car, which may not be as aesthetic as my bookshelves were at my old house, but I mean, right now we're dealing with like a tote bag that I have behind my shoulder, so whatever. For like the next however long, it's just gonna look kind of chaotic, which I think fits my vibe as a person, really. So, well, thank you for hanging out with me for another monthly vlog, and for all of my rambling, because I think I talked a lot in this one. So, I never remember if I said my name at the beginning. I feel like I should make a little checklist for myself that like says, say hello, say your name, say what the video is gonna be. I always miss one of those. All right, so thank you for hanging out with me. See you in my next video. Bye.